G'day guys, Lightning here, and today I thought I'd just do a quick little video on doing some training in the Tomcat, which includes obviously taking off, air-to-air refueling, and doing some landing practice. The Tomcat is a pretty difficult plane to fly, so you got to keep those skills up, otherwise it will kick your ass. So I'm going to do just minimum commentary here, just the important bits and a little bit of, I guess, tutorial work on landing and air-to-air refueling particularly, because they are pretty difficult. So yeah, sit back and relax. Okay, let's extend those wings. And kneel the aircraft. Check the flaps are down. There they are. And now we gotta connect to the actual catapult. So we'll throttle up a little bit, move forward until the plane pulls down, like so. It'll connect us properly there. I'll show my controls as well. So we're getting told to throttle up now in preparation for takeoff. The F-14B does not require the use of afterburner for takeoff, but we're going to do it anyway because it's cool. So throttling up to mil. Press the salute button to launch. Throttle up to afterburner. 3, 2, 1, go. Clearing turn immediately off to the right, flaps up, we don't want to get them stuck. There should be a flight of F-18s on the way right behind us. There they are, they're coming in for their landing approach. You can see they got their hooks down. But yeah, it was a successful takeoff. Make sure everything's all in working order, which it seems to be. And now we've got to find the Viking, which you saw launch at the start, which will refuel us. So to do that, we're going to switch to TID and air-to-air mode, and also connect to the carrier data link, which will tell us where this Viking is. There it is, marked at 10,000 or thereabouts in front of us. I have set him to cruise at 15, so yeah, we'll turn on PAL and have a look for him.
Target 9 miles.
Pretty quick.
You spiked a buddy.
I'm aware I've spiked a buddy, Jester. I'm going to turn on the TV cam just so we can see him a little bit better. We'll also burn off a little bit of this fuel, as I did only start us on 35% fuel, but we don't need that much for what we're doing today, so we can jump into burner and get rid of some of that.
Target 6 miles.
6 miles. We're going to tell him we've got an intent to refuel.
Mexico, 1-1, in field.
And at about 5 miles, we'll throttle down and put out the air brake so we don't overshoot. So velocity 230 knots at 15,000 is what he's telling us. I think he's already at his cruising altitude of 15,000. Alright, now the tricky thing with air-to-air refueling in the Tomcat is you don't have many pilot aids, so those being fly-by-wire or auto trim or really anything like a bubble canopy even. I mean, the canopy's not too bad, but this big metal canopy bow does get in the way quite a lot and makes it very difficult to see the basket sometimes, as it can kind of sit in the areas, you know,
Target,
where
3
there's
miles.
steel. Alright, and once we're in position, so we'll come up a little bit more. Once we're in position around about here, or a little bit closer, we can call for contact. So we're gonna say ready pre-contact here.
Pre-contact.
We're also gonna try trim the aircraft as best as we possibly can. Now, you will get vertical oscillations in the Tomcat. That's just a fact of what it's like to fly this plane. The trim is quite difficult to get right, so don't worry if you're kind of bouncing up and down on the back of the basket, because that's pretty normal. We're also going to open our air-to-air refueling probe by extending it through that switch there.
I lost lock.
It's okay, Jester. So we're going to have to line up a little bit to the left of the refueling pod here. So the probe is on the right of the aircraft. It's not mounted in the center like some others, and it's also not a boom like you'd find in the F-15. So we're going to have to manually connect it ourselves instead of a boom operator doing that job for us. So we're going to line up slightly to the left, and I will just preface this by saying I haven't done this in a few months, so I might not be perfect, but I will try my very best. So I'm going to try take a nice, smooth, long run-up. It's better doing one singular smooth long run-up than lots of tiny ones and continuously missing. So try to get in sort of speed with the Viking, which we are now. I'm going to slowly start pulling up now, using the throttle very carefully. We want to not smack the probe straight in. We want to be nice and smooth. So here we go. Don't focus on the basket too hard. Small little inputs.
Contact.
There we go, we've got contact. We're going to pull up now.
Nice, that's gonna put our thirst out.
Yep, we're going to pull up to the back a little bit closer just so we don't drop off accidentally. And you can close up quite a bit to the pod, not too much though obviously, as you will get disconnected, but it's better to be a little bit closer than fall off the back. So yeah,
Fuel
this is the
8,000.
perfect position you want to be. Fuel 8,000. About this distance, there's no real proper way to tell. I just like to keep my nose slightly off to the left of the pod, which means the line should be nice and straight. And just try to keep the aircraft here as best you can. Using the throttle mainly, obviously, to hold position. Try to be smooth, but like I said, the
9,500.
Tomcat doesn't particularly fly very smooth itself, so it's a bit more difficult. We're going to take 10 more seconds of fuel, and then we're going to pull off. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just going to slightly reduce power
Fuel
and let the
10,500.
basket come off, like so. Let the refueling plane gain some distance. Tell him
felt
you
turbulence, I swear.
tell him you no longer need fuel. Then you can put the probe back in and do a break to say bye-bye and thank you very much. So now we're going to head back to the carrier with our newly acquired fuel and do some circuits and practice landings. Okay, so now that we've made our way back to the carrier, we're going to perform an overhead brake and get into the pattern for landing. I will just quickly say that I am not a real F-14 pilot or anything, so the procedures are not going to all be completely realistic to life, but I'll try to do them in a semi-realistic way. So here we are over the carrier at 350 knots. We're going to turn left-hander here. We're also going to call the carrier for landing permission. So George Washington,
Marshall 010.
inbound.
Parking Moms 21940. Angels 0.5. State 8.8.
So we're just telling our carrier our fuel state and other important information. Okay, report see me at 10. So that means report basically final.
Overhead Angels 1. State 8.8.
Okay, 250 knots.
010. Tower, roger. BRC 22.
I'm going to start making our turn here. So first landing I'm going to do is not going to be a full landing, it's just going to be a touch and go. So in the turn, we're going to put gear and flap down. Aiming for about 200 knots or so. And to line up with the carrier actual landing deck, which is obviously angled. So we're a little bit right, but not unrecoverable. So lined up here, I'm going to make sure we got full flaps and DLC also. We're going to get the FLOS. Now the FLOS is designed for an F-18, so it's not going to be quite right for the Tomcat. We can also try to slow down to about 130 knots. So once we're on that ball, we're going to call the ball.
010. Tomcat ball 8.7.
And now we're just going to try to trim the aircraft perfectly, basically, for the speed. So a little fast, yep. Also the LSO calls are also kind of tailor-made for the Hornet, so the Tomcat is not entirely correct, but basically you're going to be using that FLOS on the left as your main sort of guide. There we go. We're going to wave off. Or bolter, I should say, as we did touch the ground. I'm going to put the gear and flaps up. That was a pretty good first attempt, I will say so myself. We landed pretty much perfectly on the marks, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now we're going to go for an actual landing, so now all we need to do is actually put the hook down. So again, if I did anything slightly wrong to real life, don't worry about it. I'm not an actual F-14 pilot. I have watched a few videos, but I'm not going to follow all the procedures to the mark, so yeah. Back to 250 knots in the pattern. We are a little bit higher than last time at 2,000 feet, as we did do that go around or wave off or bolter, as one might call it. So I'm going to get our altitude down a little bit lower again and call the carrier. We didn't say see you at 10 or anything because we weren't actually trying to land.
Inbound, resuming mission.
So we'll call them up again
Marshall 010.
to do an actual landing this time.
088.
We are far enough off the
Angels
back.
2. State 8.3.
We're a little bit fast at 300 knots, so I'm going to use the air brake just a little bit to slow down.
Tower 010. Overhead Angels 1.5.
Okay, gear, flaps, and hook this time. You will have to trim the aircraft quite aggressively when the flaps come down, but that's normal. So signal is Charlie, we'll say see you at 10.
010. See you at 10.
Make sure we're lined up, we're a little bit left. So we're going to deploy the DLC.
010. State 8.3.
Looks like we're just a little bit low, but it's okay for now. We should get FLOS any second now to help us guide us down. It's basically like a glide slope. We're still a little bit off to the left, so I'm going to correct right. There we go, there's the FLOS, so we're a little bit low. Add a little bit of power and pitch to correct that. Okay, we're going to call the ball,
010.
seeing as we're pretty
Tomcat
much
ball,
dead on.
8.2.
I think we might have a little bit of crosswind to contend with as well, which is why it's making it a little bit harder to line up properly, as being told we are lining up left, which is kind of correct. But we are correcting. Add some power for the burble. Throttle down. Full throttle for the touchdown. There we go. It was a one wire, and we were a little bit low coming in, but in terms of an actual landing, that was pretty good and stable. So that'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Just a little bit of a tutorial on at least how to get the plane onto the deck. I know a lot of people even struggle with that. It might not have been a picture perfect landing, but it was still good enough, especially considering I'm pretty sure there is a crosswind going on, so that makes it a little bit harder, and air-to-air refueling too, which is also quite difficult. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.